Hey there, and welcome to another Dave Does video. And today I'm going to be talking about a recent video that was uploaded on the LMG Clips channel, i.e. the Linus Tech Tips guys. So I'm a huge fan of the Linux Tech Tip channel. Been watching it for years. Probably at least once a day I'll watch some videos. Sometimes it's an older video of one of their custom PC builds. Sometimes it's one of their cooling exercises. Sometimes it's when they buy a job lot of old out-of-date tech, and I just love watching it and just love what they do on their channel. But what was quite interesting is probably about 10 days ago from the time I'm filming this, they did a video where they were reacting to some of their older videos, and I thought this was a bit odd because they don't do reactions. It's not one of the sort of things they've ever done on the channel. And the first thing that went through my head was, is this a bit of a filler for them on their channel? Why did they decide to go down there? Did they have no content particularly that they wanted to do? Were they struggling with content ideas? Because as a reactor, I'll share my thoughts on reactions as a whole, but it is the easiest content to produce, reacting. You are literally just talking at a camera and sharing your thoughts and feelings. There's not a huge amount of extra work that's needed to go into it, or skill set. So, and I'm sure I'll talk about individual. I won't talk about individual reactors themselves, but I'll talk about some of the different variations on reactions that you can do. So there are a few other things that I've got a lot of work that goes into. So that's where we'll get into this idea. But recently they've just posted a video up yesterday called "Are Reaction Videos Ethical?" Now I'm wondering if this was because they got challenged about their doing reactions to their own videos, etc. Maybe some people asked the question about that. So I haven't watched it. I'm going to watch it with you guys and share my thoughts on it. But I'm going to give you my tuppence quickly before we get into it, because I don't know what they've said about it. But from my point of view, reactions can be unethical and can be ethical depending on how you approach them. So if you're I started my channel many years ago, 4 years ago now, I guess, and my purpose for doing the reactions was to highlight bands that weren't getting as much love, and to hopefully get some of these grassroots bands some more exposure, which I did in some cases. But also I got trapped in that whole idea of, you get a video of a bigger band that suddenly gets you 50,000 views and a load of subscribers, you start going down that rabbit hole route and doing those. But the unethical bit is where, if you were a reactor like me and you just rewatch a video, you don't really pause it, you don't make any real significant changes, you don't do a lot of differences to it, and you just give your feedback at the end. If you're like me like that, then you don't try to monetize those videos. So they always get copyright claims by the owners, and that's fine. And actually, if in anything, you're actually helping those artists earn money by people watching your video actually goes to the artist, and that's great. So yes, as a reactor there, you don't earn any money. There are the other reactors who do a lot of changes. They do lots of pauses, cutters, rollbacks, breakdowns, and they will dispute the copyright claim if it does, because they've made significant changes. And I think that's okay as well, because they are adding value to it, they're adding a substance, and so I believe that they're okay to monetize that. It's the ones which don't do anything different, they don't change anything, and then try to monetize those videos and dispute them to get the money when they've done nothing to add any real value. That's the ones that I think are unethical. And I think as long as there's an interest of people that want to watch them and want you to share their opinion, that's another one. The only other point of unethical, or if ethical or unethical, is false reactions. People that give reactions for the sake of shock value, over the top reactions. Now, we found this on the ADK channel, my other channel. So we've got the Dave Does, we've got the ADK, where I'm more used to doing the reactions, so I know probably a little bit more about how to give that feedback, but not always. I still get caught out by this on a few occasions, whereas Andy and Kirk are fairly new to it, and they've just literally said how they feel, and people take it the wrong way. Rather than give them sort of say, well, actually you've done it, you were honest about how you felt about it, we don't agree with you, but at least you were honest. People just attack and troll you, etc, etc. So we're all, as a threesome, we're working on our way of making sure we give that feedback. But there are people that do shock value and pretend they've never heard of a song like Bohemian Rhapsody before, and act like they're falling out and having a heart attack because it's so amazing. If you've listened to music, you will genuinely have heard a lot of things in some form or another. So that disingenuous look of surprise is never real, in my opinion. I'm sorry if there are people that believe that is, but I'm sorry if I've seen so many people act so surprised for music and it's just fake, and that to me is unethical. You're not giving the people that wanted to see a genuine reaction their viewpoint. So anyway, I've just talked long enough. Let's bring up the boys. Let's go check this out. The WAN show. Okay, it should hopefully be loud enough. Let's go. Let's see what they're on about. Are reactions ethical?
Okay, another perfect example of sometimes the gulf that exists.
See, I could just pause this a lot and then basically monetize my video. You see, adding value, adding value. Not going to do that. I'm just going to watch. I'll stop it when they get to a point of any particular relevance, which I'm sure they'll get to lots of points of relevance at some point.
Between what is ethical and legally acceptable versus what is socially acceptable would be something like the way that some creators approach React content. And I know this is gonna be a hot
spicy potato.
There's gonna be a hot take. Oh, I can't believe he's talking about this, but it's like
no, we're not. We only some reactors will get that way.
It's actually pretty cut and dried, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna. There's no point not being transparent.
Here's a quick question: does Mr. Linus Tech Tips agree with me on this one about it, or do we have a disagreement? We'll find out in a sec.
Transparent about it because the internet never forgets anything, so I might as well just tell you guys we're working on a React channel. Like it's.
Ooh, really? You're trying to monopolize us, trying to push all us little reactors out. No, but if they could do it well, and there are people that do it really well with cutscenes and stuff like that, and if you've got the clout to do it, then you can do reactions really well with getting groups of people together. And I know on the ADK channel that's something we're invested in for this year. And we're doing it because we want to do interviews with bands, so we're doing the reactions to gain some subscribers so that it's more beneficial for us to approach bands and say, look, we've got a subscriber count. And that's our main reason for doing reactions. It's not specifically because we were targeting that as a channel topic. It's interviews, album reviews, and music, just generally that sort of element, not necessarily reactions to videos, but they are good ways of filling up the channel. So that's why we're doing it on the ADK.
It is effort, easy content, and it is like obscenely profitable.
Is it? Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I don't feel right to sit there and try to monetize other people's content. So if I'm reacting to a music video, I don't monetize it because that's their video. And maybe I've lost out on thousands of pounds of money there by not doing it that way, but I just don't feel right doing that.
If you can generate a bunch of views on content that takes almost literally no time, that's what it is. That's what React content is. And
what's your approach?
Quick question though, so why is Linus going down that route? Now, is this because with the Tech Tips channel, they're running low on content and they need to diversify? Maybe it's lower views on the channel, maybe, but I know that they're doing really well. So I'm intrigued of why they would want to go down the reaction route, unless it's just to bolster another monetary channel to come into the company.
I'm very intrigued. What is the approach to the React content channel?
Well, first I'm going to talk about, what are the obvious problems with some of the React content that's out there.
Okay.
The defense that is used by, and I'm not going to name anyone because I don't need any beef in my life. It's a waste of brain energy for me. But the argument that is often used to defend it is fair use.
It's not fair use. Trust me, it's not fair use. You have to click fair use because it's not really classed as original content either, but that's your only real route to go down if you are disputing. And I've had to use that as the only option because you're making significant changes to the original content. So there, at that point, it's now classed as fair use because it's public domain. But you could class it as original content, but straight away they'll get knocked down because they can clearly see that you're using someone else's content. So fair use is the route. And I use that as just a way to be able to send my dispute in. Now, the disputes I've sent in recently will be where a PR company has asked us to react to a music video for them as part of the public promotional, and it's got blocked. And so I have to then ask them to unblock it. I've not asked them to release their copyright claim. I'm just asking them to unblock it so the video can be uploaded, because we're still happy to do it, because our main job is on our channel is to focus on the unsigned grassroots bands, but we need to do the bigger bands to help us get people to watch the grassroots bands, if that makes sense. So it's kind of what we're doing as like a community ADK channel. So it's not really for any profit. In fact, we lose money through equipment, studio time, stuff like that. We don't cover any of those costs. It comes out of our own pocket to do it.
Fair use is a gray area, for one thing.
Yeah,
it actually has to be. It actually has to be defended in court. It is not as simple as, well, it's fair use, therefore it's fine. The only reason that you might get away with saying it's fair use is if nobody chooses to challenge you on it.
That is true. And also, I mean, so if I put this up and this doesn't get a monetization request, I can then decide to either monetize this video when I put it up and wait and see if I get a challenge down the LTT. And if LTT then decide to challenge it and say, well, we want to monetize your content, and I've used significant chunks of their content, which is effectively what I'm doing, then fair play. I have to release it and say, yeah, that's fine. You can copyright claim it, because it is their content. Without their content, this video doesn't exist. So in fairness, if they want to copyright claim it, they can copyright claim it. It's their choice. It makes creators have to do more original content. I'm doing a lot less reactions. The only reactions I'm doing this year are ones I choose to do because I want to, or where the Patreons have sponsored the video. So we're getting Patreon to fund, give some money every month to keep the channel going, and they get to choose some videos for me to react to. That way it still gets funds coming into the channel. But that's one of the reasons why on the Dave Does channel I've stopped doing a lot of reactions, because there is no real benefit to spend. Even though it's only a short amount of time, you've still got the editing and stuff like that to do, so it does take a little bit of time.
So in a way, you could look at that fair use argument for React content as basically just a way that large creators can turn their nose up at small creators who can't afford to defend their work.
Very true. So as a small, I guess for the small creators down there that if they're talking about the original content by small creators that they're reacting to, yeah, they can't really defend it in a court. As small reactors, we can't really defend anything on the copyright claim sort of points of view. So it's hard for us to get to that larger next channel. I guess he was talking about the actual creators themselves of what you're reacting to.
By saying, essentially, because you can't afford to sue me, it's fair use.
Huh.
That's a pretty shitty stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is shit, if you are being like that.
A lot of what gets defended as fair use is clearly not. Google has a support doc for this because they run a little site you might have heard of before called YouTube.
Yeah. What is really interesting, I find, with the copyright claims is where you get something that's an original content. I've done this with something where I do some of these collaborations with other artists on the channel. I do collaborations with Dimas Senapati. One of my collaborations got copyright claimed, but was copyright claimed by another channel who had taken his song and uploaded it onto YouTube and Spotify. So he was getting the monetary value, and it wasn't even my collaboration. It was the original content that I had worked with Dimas then afterwards to create my collaboration video. And so what was really strange from my point of view was we're sitting there. I had to phone up Dimas over in Indonesia and say, what's going on? Do you know anything about this music company that's claiming it? And he was like, I have no idea. So we had to put a dispute in. And I actually disputed as well, told him about this to go check his channel, because people will go and nick. And luckily the dispute was upheld and we got our monetary values released again. But it's It's crazy how many people try and claim other people's works.
And so they have a lot of kind of like legal Q&A on there. And the 4 factors of fair use are laid out, or pillars, if you want to call them that, are laid out pretty clearly. So there's the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is commercial or is for non-profit educational purposes.
Which is pretty much mostly everyone's using it for commercial, aren't we, really? We're all kind of trying to monetize it if you're getting copyright issues.
It's commercial, that's a big strike against you. And the second you hit monetization or pimp t-shirts or screwdrivers or whatever else, that's very commercial use, right?
Yep.
Courts typically focus on whether the use is transformative. That is, whether it adds new expression or meaning to the original, or whether it merely copies from the original.
And this is where a lot of reaction channels try to break up their videos. This is where the stop, start, let's scroll it back, listen to that piece again. Oh, did you hear that? Look at that. How did that vocal shrill go up? Let's just play that back again. By doing all these little changes in between the videos, they can then dispute it and say, well, we've made a significant change, you can't watch it. You couldn't watch the original video on our channel. Now, I tend to, on my reactions, try to watch the video from start to finish so that you get the full immersion of the song. Because how can you truly get a feel for a song if you don't watch it from start to finish? If you keep pausing, stop, start, then you're not genuinely doing it. Now, you may want to do it as a breakdown. It depends on how you do it, if it's a reaction or a breakdown. If it's a breakdown, you can stop, start. If it's a reaction, you have to watch it from start to finish, which means in theory you've not made any changes to that video, which means you cannot copyright claim it yourself or monetize it. The original artist should copyright claim it. That's just my stance on it.
And this is a spectrum, right? This is not just black and white. It adds new expression or it doesn't. It's up to the interpretation and it's up to the arguments that get made. Number 2 is the nature of the copyrighted work, right? So using material from a factual work is more likely to be fair than from a fictional work. Number 3, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole.
So this is all about how much do you use the whole video. So if you've got a 3 or 4 minute song and you use the guidance is usually about between 8 and 10 seconds. If it's under 8 and 10 seconds, you can generally get away with utilizing that bit, which is why you'll a lot of the time see little clips of something. And we do it on ADK when we do album reviews or interviews, when we introduce the person that we're interviewing. So like for instance, we did Grog from Diso Fluid the other week, and when we interviewed Grog, I sort of said, oh, this is Grog from Diso Fluid, and then we cut to one of her music videos for 10 seconds of that, and then we went into the interview and we had the rest of her songs put really low down in the mix, about like -30, so they didn't get picked up, but you could just so that you didn't have silence in the background while we were talking. But you could just hear the faint parts of their song, so they didn't get picked up by the audio parts. But that didn't get any copyright issues on there because that was such a short clip. It wouldn't be classed as substantial enough for them to monetize. But as soon as it goes over the 10-second mark, you pretty much are going to get a copyright claim. Or if it's a very key riff like Metallica's Enter Sandman, if you did 10 seconds of that main riff, you're going to get monetized, copyright claimed.
And this is where a lot of React content, as it is right now, is in deep doo-doo. A lot of people in the chat are talking about the H3 ruling. Yes, that did go in favor of Ethan, but you've also got to remember and understand that fair use is something that is tackled on a case-by-case basis by the courts.
Yep.
And in the case of H3 Productions versus that guy, can't remember his name, Ethan, to his credit, did not use the entire original source. And the bulk of the video was, for better or for worse, H3's commentary, right? As opposed to just the original work being consumed in a way that is not benefiting the original rights holder in any way.
So I guess what they're talking about there is that let's say it's a 3-4 minute song or whatever the content was that they were reacting to, and he's done like maybe 10 minutes worth of discussion. So they can then sort of say, well, actually it's 15 minutes long, but only 4 minutes of it was the video. The rest of it was my discussion piece. So in theory, a lot more of the video was not the content, but it depends on whether they cut it up. And it also depends. To me, it's a case of whether or not content creators are trying to monetize. Now, why wouldn't you try to monetize unless you've got a different hidden agenda? And as I said, with myself and on this channel, on the ADK channel, it was less about the monetization. It was always about, with the reaction videos, was to grow awareness on the channel, to focus on others. So originally the Dave Does was to grow content for the lesser producers, so like the unsigned bands, so that I could do work with them on the channel, and it has done some work for those, and it's helped me get into doing some work with club gigs and stuff like that, and live bands, music videos and stuff like that. And then it also was for me to help with my own work with music writing, song production, so that I could put some music out and already have a potential fan base already there on the subscribe account. That was the original target, so I never went around about to monetize. But of course, if your entire channel is about just doing reactions to music, it makes sense that you're going to try to monetize it all the way through.
Number 4, and this is another huge one that is highly problematic with a lot of React content right now, the effect on the potential market for or the value of the copyrighted work. If you play the entire video as part of the video, the impact is enormous. Let's say, for example, someone did a React video to one of ours where they pulled a few key things, but largely transformed it, largely contributed their own thoughts and their own expression.
Does that count what I'm doing here? Might do. But we are watching the whole thing of theirs because I want to know their entire viewpoints. But let's see what they say.
That is pretty obviously fair use, even though it is commercial. So usually I wouldn't consider our content to be primarily or purely fictional. I'd say that we strive to create factual works.
Yeah.
So it
it's
is
generally
more
always
likely
very
to
good
be covered by fair
or
use.
entertaining.
The character of the use, while it is commercial, it would be highly transformative, and the amount of that is used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole could be quite low. There also is potentially a positive effect on the potential market for the copyrighted work. So in the case of something like, let's say let's stick with the example that we're using just for...
Before he says our example, I want to share one of mine, which is Alec Bartar. So Alec Bartar is a fingerstyle guitar player. Gets lots of reactions. Now, his latest video's got 2.4 million views. But if you look at all the reactors, and he copyright claims all of his stuff, and I don't know how many reactors dispute it, I don't, it's his music, why should you? But if all of us just do the reactions and don't dispute it, he actually gets a lot more views on the reactions that go to him monetary-wise than he does on the actual original reaction. So it can be beneficial, and also what we found is that it's become this whole thing now where whenever he does it, it just goes absolutely crazy, and all the reactors do Alec Bartar videos, and that's really helped boost his status on his subscriber count. He's sitting there around, I don't know, was he 7 million, 8 million subscribers now? Crazy.
For the sake of ease of following along. So if you only provide snippets of the original video, but explicitly in your content you say, but there's some key parts of it that you should go check out, I've got it linked down below, there's a much stronger argument for fair use.
The question is, so if I was to do that on this particular video, when I'm talking about here, and said, I've only picked out certain topics, it's like newscasters where they're reporting on a topic about what someone said, but only gave you the snippets. I don't think you can do that. You need to show the entire context, which is why it's important we cover off the entire video, or at least if that's all they're talking about is the reaction videos in here, then we'll cover the whole thing. But it's important so we get this kind of bookend it, start and stop of what they're actually saying. Otherwise, I'd hate to quote them out of context.
As it is right now, if you upload a video that is essentially the entire original work for profit for yourself with some chunks,
and that is the key, for profit, and that's what the reactor, this is where I kind of agree with the reaction. I'm hoping I agree with what they're going to say here, which is you can't, if you're just putting the whole video up, you can't. It's not right. It's the original artist's work. You can't do it.
Where you respond to or react to or talk over the original work, there is no reason whatsoever to go watch the original work. And so you'll see these large creators that are getting...
I would always say there always is a reason to go and watch the original work, unless the person that's doing the reaction is entertaining. If they're not entertaining, you wouldn't want to watch the reaction video, which I've had that before. People find I'm quite dry pan. But if you've got a 4-minute song and someone's putting a 15-minute video out there, are you going to go watch the 15-minute video if you just want to watch the song? You're going to go and find the song. But there is the element of if the people are very entertaining. I know that the guys from, what was it, Lost in Vegas, they did a reaction to Megadeth's Holy War's Punishment is Due. I actually prefer watching the reaction to that than to the original, because it's such a fun reaction to watch, to see what they did. And so on those grounds, I would watch that reaction over the original music video. Now, whether they because they stop start, I'm sure they did monetize that video.
In some cases, many times the viewership of the original work at the cost of the original work. And I honestly don't have the solution to this right now. Because, like, it's pretty clear that YouTube's copyright claim system is pretty broken. Like,
I don't think it is. Maybe it's the dispute system that's broken, because I get copyright claims every video I upload, pretty much, unless it's an original thing. It's I've never had too many issues with it, so I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't put as much original content, so maybe the original content doesn't get copyright claimed as much, but maybe that's what. Maybe in that case with the reactions, where people are uploading a video like this, and then maybe their video isn't going to get picked up. So then, if people start watching my one over their chat about reactions, and they don't know about it, then this is going to get more, and this is monetized. This would get more money than their channel would, which ain't going to happen. You already know that they're going to make more money on it. But yeah, maybe that's what they're talking about. Is music videos are already, because of things like Spotify, Deezer, etc., they're already going to be completely picked up, and that's where the bulk of reactions are music reactions in some form, because it's the easiest content to do.
Even if something was clearly not fair use, you know, I don't necessarily think that I would be entitled to 100% of the revenue.
Yeah,
which,
shared revenue.
to my knowledge, is the only way you can copyright claim something.
I don't know. I've never copyright claimed anyone else's. I've never gone through it. But yes, I've had people which flag up, which show me where people have claimed usage. So yes, I think, but I've never actually put in a claim against it. Because I look at it and go, that's fine. It's either people I know that are sharing the video on their channel that or had some involvement in it, and I'm like, that's fine, you can share the video, or they're doing compilations, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm not going to worry too much about it. If they want to share snippets of my video in with another compilation video of some other people, that's fine. I don't have a massive problem with it. So yeah, I don't know. But I do know that the shared revenue is something that gets picked up for music videos. When I do collaboration videos, and we're doing covers, they get picked up as a cover song, and you get shared revenue, which isn't really equally shared. It's kind of 80-90% towards the original artist, and you get the dribs and the drabs left over, basically.
You basically just say, I think that's all mine, or you can say, I think I deserve nothing. There's no middle ground whatsoever.
I think that's true.
And two, the community backlash is just not worth it, because there's this perception that I don't know. I actually just don't really understand why. Because
they talk about the community perception about reactors. It's almost like Marmite. You either love them or you hate them. I used to really like reactors until I started doing reactors until I started doing reactions, and now I never watch reactors because I do reactions myself. So it's kind of, I don't want to watch another reactor and kind of think about what I'm going to do, or what they're doing better than me, or what I doing better than them. I just want to focus on what I'm doing, so I don't watch the other reactors. But I know a lot of people go that's just, they think of them as the bottom feeders of the YouTube channel, because you're not actually creating anything, you're not actually doing anything of actually adding any real value in a lot of cases. But there are other people that really like to have other people's opinions, and I liken this to people like when you go to the pub, or when I was younger and you go to a pub, and someone put something on the jukebox and go, or when I was at school and someone have a new album, go dude, you got to hear this. You got to hear this new song. And that's what I feel reaction channels are like. People want to share their music, so they really want that experience of having someone else love what they love, because they want to feel included. They want to feel in an inclusive environment, and that's what I think the whole reaction vibe is about. So that's why if you do a reaction and you don't like something, you can really alienate people from your reaction channel, because people only watch your reaction for that particular band. They won't come back. And so let's say if I do In Flames and In Flames fans are there, and then I do Nightwish, unless they're also a Nightwish fan, they're not going to watch it because it's on your channel. They're only going to watch the reaction that is specifically to bands that they like. So they're not watching you for you, they're watching you for the band that's coming up.
Sitting as someone who is, relatively speaking, on the top of the online creator pyramid, I can tell you right now that the community backlash that follows any smaller creator who's trying to enforce copyright is wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's just plain wrong. It benefits the people who are at the top who don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, I've hardly ever had to, as I said, I don't really do copyright claims. I made a sort of comment a while back, maybe about a year ago, about why I did less reactions, or one of the reasons why I didn't spend as much time on them was basically the fact that you don't earn any money, so why should I spend lots of money? Because someone was going on about, I need to have a new studio, I need more lighting, I need to do a load of other stuff, and I went, well, who's paying for this? Because I don't make any money on YouTube, so what you're expecting from me is to spend huge amounts of money to make content I can't monetize. Does that make sense? So yeah, I bought some new equipment last year, but is it... I could spend more, but I'm not going to spend thousands of pounds on equipment for something that you can't monetize. If I was monetizing the channel and we were doing other content, which is what we're looking at with the ADK channel, then fair play. We are looking at some investments there. But yeah, I got so much crap from people for that because of I was sitting there going on about trying to ask people to join the Patreon to help support the channel if they want me to invest. But no, there was none of that. And me complaining about the fact, I wasn't complaining, I was just saying that we can't monetize our channels because of the copyrights. And that's, people really were not happy about me for that.
They actually have money. They could hire staff, create something original, get equipment, whatever.
Sorry, what was that about staff? You mean me who does the content creation for the ADK channel, and Dave does the editing, uploading, admin on the channels, plus my own day job, plus playing in a band, plus doing the Dave Does digital music videos. Yeah, I wish I had staff, but that's another challenge of, like, if you've got to get content out, that's why reactions are quite a good, quick and easy way to keep content on the channel going. But yeah, camera equipment costs money.
Ever. Whereas the people who are at the bottom actually need it.
Yeah,
they can't build a screwdriver from scratch and sell 100,000 units, right? Like, they don't.
I can't afford a screwdriver.
And so
at the moment,
to ignore these arguments just because, you know, we don't like people being mean to people we've formed a parasocial relationship with. It's messed up, man.
Okay, so all of that being said, how's yours going to work?
So
yeah, I forgot he was saying about he was going to do his own channel. We got so bad about. Does he actually want to do a channel after saying all that? Because yeah, it's a reacting is a toxic environment, and I have to spend so much time responding to toxic comments and trying to understand where the toxicity comes from, and trying to talk people round, maybe sometimes explaining the viewpoints, etc. But it doesn't always work. Some people are very good, but it's probably like the 1% of the internet just wants to just troll you, and they're the ones that leave the comments, unfortunately.
Well, what I've got in the I'm not signed into that account on here. In one sec.
Good.
Yes. So basically, oh shoot, it's in the comments. General reaction channel guidelines. Timeliness is hugely important. Blah blah blah. Nope.
Timeliness. I wonder if he's talking about the idea that you need to get content out that's obviously trending at the time, which I never did. Sorry, I that's a lie. God, I just lied. Sorry. No, I do from time to time, but it's not my key demographic. I don't go for like, I go, oh, latest video, I've got to get a reaction out. I done it recently with like things like Metallica's, a couple of new singles that dropped, and I do it with Alec Bartar. But generally, I pick songs that I feel that I want to react to. And same on the ADK channel, we're picking songs that we feel interested or people recommend, and they're not normally anything. They've probably been out for years, which means we're not going to pick up a lot of views on them. But that's fine. We don't mind. We're doing it for ourselves in a lot of cases. But we're just going. We're doing that kind of hair in the tortoise. We're just going to keep plodding away at it and hope that we get there in the end.
Nope. Where is it?
Come on, Linus, find it.
That time someone reacted to one of our things. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. So again, as a content creator, I have, actual numbers for how beneficial reaction content is to the original creator. The answer is much, in case you guys are wondering. And that's even as...
I only think that's if you're disputing, if you're actually doing monetary claims. But again, if you're not monetizing it, if you're allowing the original content creator to monetize it, I mean, maybe I've missed a trick. In the last 4 years, I've not really monetized any of my reactions. I've got 3,000 reaction videos on the channel. I think maybe 5% might be monetized because they were not originally claimed. If they were originally claimed by the artist, I've never disputed them. Because it's their content. Why should I?
Someone with a substantial following already and whose content might already have significant momentum on a channel from someone who's only ever on a channel that's only ever uploaded one video or something like that, where they don't have that critical mass.
I do think there's multiple arguments here.
Sure, and it depends on the nature of the inclusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you include, so this is okay. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm getting to it.
He's getting there.
Unfortunately, I just don't have the...
Yeah, and stop going about the... If anyone's saying in the comment, activate Windows, yeah, I'll think about it at some point.
Basically, I don't know. I can't find it. I laid out
I've
some...
seen it work.
I've laid out some guidelines
there.
for what I would consider to be like ethical reaction content.
God, I want to see what it
where
is.
the goal, the stated purpose, and not just the stated purpose, but the actual goal of the content needs to be to uplift the original creator, as opposed to coming back to the pillars of fair use, harm the value or potential market for the original work. And I think that...
Okay, so the quick thing I do want to point out is uplifting doesn't mean to make the artist feel better. It should be of a benefit to them or on the content, which means it can either be monetization in their content, which is what I tend to focus on, because you've got to be, if you're going to sit there and let's say it's a band, I'm not going to say which band it is, but let's say it's a band I've watched and me and the guys didn't like it, or I didn't like it, I'm going to tell you I didn't like it. Now that might be a negative because I'm not being great about them. I thought it was a bad song or a bad band or anything like that, or wasn't worth the time and effort we put into reacting to it. But we're honest and we've allowed the monetization, so if people are then at least watch the video, the monetization is going back to the original artist, so there is still a benefit towards them.
That's something that has just been completely lost.
I think there is and there has been reaction content that is like clearly exploitative,
yes.
Exploitative, there you go, we got there.
He hasn't been practicing talking for a week.
It's actually true. That's probably not the reason why that just happened, but it is true. But I have also seen reaction content that has like made channels, basically.
For sure.
It totally happens. And I think a lot of it we were talking about earlier, but like how instead of the algorithm you should say community. I think a lot of it has to do with the community that follows that person. Are they only ever going to watch this person's content because of the host and they have no real...
So I think the host is very important. I lose loads of people on this channel, so I get people that will stop by for one video, don't like how I approach the video because they say I'm negative. I don't think I'm negative. I'm just I can't even think of what the right word is. Contemplative, I guess is probably the right word. So I like to listen to the song, try to break it down. They sometimes think I'm over analytical. I don't enjoy the music, which is not true. I'm just trying to think the process through of the song from start to finish. How did it come together? How did it get put together? What was the environment? What was the music video? Did it all tie together? Rather than just kind of go, oh man, this is awesome, dude. This is just amazing. I'm blown away. Don't know why I went in that accent, but that content is not what I ever wanted to do. I didn't want to do one of these kind of superficial, like, oh my god. And there are a lot of reactors that do that get kind of like blown away. And I've kind of watched it a few times with some of these reactors where they've been doing reactions for a long time and they still act shocked when a breakdown comes in on a song. And I'm like, but you've been listening to rock or metal for the last 2 or 3 years on reactions. How are you still pretending to be shocked? You can't be shocked by this unless you're playing up to the camera, and that's what I have a real bugbear on it. But they're doing it if they're doing it purely for entertainment value, then they're doing it right. If they're doing it to pretend to be genuinely shocked, and they're trying to fool people that they're genuinely shocked, then I don't like that.
Real cares about the source, and they're never going to follow through. They're never going to go to that channel. They're never going to check it out, whatever. Or is it a community of people that are going to follow through and are going to give support when the creator watches different videos, whatever?
The problem with that argument is it's not up to you.
Yeah,
it's up to the original copyright holder.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you think.
No, that's not a good
You
thing.
tell him, Linus.
Well, it doesn't, though.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's not my statement.
Oh, I thought you were saying that I, as the reactor, can just decide, well, my audience isn't really going to follow through on this, so I should just show it to them.
No.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you.
No.
Because I was like, really?
What I'm saying is that in
Go on, Linus.
And I think especially the current era, there's a big mix of ones that are good and aren't good. And obviously...
And even within individuals, there's a mix of doing the right thing and being extremely lazy.
I've seen example clips of someone...
Extremely lazy. Not, well, lazy-ish. I'm not the laziest, but because I don't monetize my videos, I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours on reaction videos doing multi-cam. I've got multiple cameras that I can use for like doing music videos and stuff like that, but I'm not going to sit there and have 4 camera angles of me from different shots and cutaways and interslicing it with other things and lots of graphics on the screen for the sake of something that I'm not going to make any money on. There's no benefit, so it's easier for me to just set a camera up, put the graphics up on the screen, press record, talk into the camera, talk over it, and then just do a quick edit at the end for start and finishing, and leave it like that.
Yeah. Who will go from really good reactionary content to a piece of content that probably probably makes you want to go follow through and see the original creator, all that kind of stuff. And then the next clip, they're like eating. So it just plays the video, and they literally never say a whole thing other than just like, while they're chewing. And it's like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's a difficult one. So when you talk about the reaction, a lot of people... I've done multiple types of reactions. So I've done the pausing, stop, start. I've done the sit there, look at the screen. I used to make notes and hold up signs to the camera, because one of the things I got was I did a lot of polls on YouTube to ask about what sort of content would you prefer. Would you like... me to stop, pause, and talk about sections? Do you want me to talk over it? Would you like me to just watch it and give feedback at the end? And I got an overwhelming response, which was, we would like you to watch the whole thing from start to finish and feedback at the end. So that's what I did. Unfortunately, I don't think it makes great for reactions because people get bored. And I watched that, and the actual content was that because I wasn't stop starting, people were dropping out earlier on in the video. But it was what the viewers wanted, so that's what I did. Although I would say I don't eat food. That is just wrong. I will drink coffee, but I won't eat food while watching. I just think it's wrong. I can't stand the thought of just watching someone chew food. Ugh.
I don't really know what to say about this, but
well, I know what to say.
What it is.
But they might watch LTT, and I'm not supposed to insult the audience.
Go ahead and say it. Insult me.
But yeah, I don't know. I know
it's fine. We love you, Linus. It's fine.
That basically only exist because reaction channels blew them up. But then I also know of channels that hate it and have openly tried to get people to stop, and people just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, it's rough.
Well, the answer is really simple. The answer is
reach out and ask.
Reach out and ask.
Yeah.
And
I do also know people that do that right now.
And that's the worst part. Like, I have personally had content used in montages or like mashups or reaction videos or whatever.
Yeah, like someone brought up in Floatplane chat, Gardner Bryant was a Linux creator
Sure.
that reacted to some of our Linux challenge
Sure.
videos. I watched them. I thought they were really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hold on. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But I have personally known of huge creators, like enormous creators, that did not have a valid fair use argument for their use of our content.
Gotcha.
So what sort of content? So in this case, like I would never have done a reaction to them like building a PC, because I don't think there was any content of why would I do it. I'm not a PC builder. Yada yada yada. So, but in this case, because they're talking about reactions videos being ethical, and I'm a reactor, I felt that there was a reason for me to use this. This would be the first time I've ever used anything from Linus Tech Tips, and I'll reach out at the end of this while I'm doing the editing and see what they say about it, because I want to upload it, and hopefully they're like, yeah, go for it and share your thoughts on it. Or I can upload it and I'll let them copyright claim it. It's fine. I don't mind. I'm using all their videos, so why not? But let's see what they say.
And could have reached out, like absolutely could have reaced out, or had their staff reach out. Like I'm talking creators with a staff.
Staff. I'd love to have staff.
Like Star Wars kid.
Love to have money. Be nice.
That's an old reference, anyway. And just didn't. And that's just pure laziness.
Yeah.
Even people I know. So there's.
I wonder if it's lazy. Actually, no, if it's big company, it is laziness. But if it's smaller companies and they haven't done it, or small individuals, it's probably the risk that they've done the work, done a video, and then realise they want to, if they reach out, they could get said, no, you can't use it, and then they're screwed. They've done all that work, so they're thinking they can probably just upload it and hope they don't get caught. Maybe that's the reason.
There's a handful of creators that I have like a standing agreement with, like Austin Marquez, for example. It's like,
oh,
hey,
we like Austin as well.
Can we just have a mutual?
Another
like,
one of
if
the channels I
use a clip
watch
from you, and I'll make sure I like say it's from you,
or whatever.
And if you use a clip from me and make sure that you do the same, can we just like not email every time?
Sure.
That makes sense.
But that's a positive. That's a constructive way to build community. Just taking stuff and being like, oh, it'll probably benefit them. I don't know, maybe. That's not cool. And it should never be acceptable. And you know, you have to ask yourself.
One of the pillars of your reaction channel.
Now, I've not looked on this video yet to see if they've got a contact pic, because that's the next question is if you're saying reach out, how easy is it to reach out? So I'll find out at the end of this video. We're going to have a look before I finish the video, once we finish this section, to find out how easy it is to find a contact for them and reach out.
It's going to be that you reach out every time for every video.
I think we should, yeah. I think that...
Well, you're speaking out against it, so I think it would have to be, right?
Well, it depends, right? So if you are reacting to some... Okay, so a perfect example of this would be the recent CoffeeZilla Logan Paul controversy. Logan Paul's not going to give CoffeeZilla permission to utilize portions of his video. But in that case, CoffeeZilla is clearly transforming the original work. That is not sitting and eating while the Logan Paul video plays as like a weird spectacle or whatever else.
Yeah, I think it's hard because I know that they're not talking about a lot about music reactions, and music reactions are a very different thing to a lot of the other reactions where you're reacting to someone saying something, or you see a lot of reactions talking about watching videos of American reacts to British seaside towns or something like that, where you can stop, pause, whereas in music you're trying to take this 4-minute story of a song and a music video and you need to understand it. So I think I still feel that you need to sit there and watch a video from start to finish, and then if you really want to at the end of it, go back. But the problem is the automatic copyright is always going to pick it up. So there's a different type. There are so many different categories of reactions. Music's being one of the biggest ones, and also one of the shortest, easiest ones to do, because you can get your videos done in about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes or so.
So in the case of a clear and obvious fair use argument, I don't think we have to. So we just have to...
Yeah.
Sorry?
Is that reaction channel going to cover divisive things like that?
I don't know. We're not sure
What
yet.
What is it? Is it?
So has he actually got content ideas for it? I think Luke's even sitting there going, so what are you going to be reacting to? Is he going to be reacting to other tech builders? because he kind of talks a little bit about tech stuff and reacts to what other bands are doing, but just does it as original content. So I'm intrigued with what they are, because I'm hoping they're not just going to be down there just reacting to random things. They're going to actually... I don't want it to be doing like what Austin does on his channel, just the reacting to unboxing stuff and stuff. I don't really want that, because Austin does that. He does it very well. So I'm intrigued. I don't know what Linus Tech Tips would be reacting to.
Is it a tech reaction channel?
So let's go. Let's talk about some of the things.
Let's get to the point. Come on, Linus. So, we're 15 minutes in.
You know, one of the things we could do is, like, we've
minutes.
done a few of these on the main channel, like reacting to community submissions, like best and worst builds and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Reacting to
community submissions is a totally different thing.
But it's still it's reaction content.
But it's not.
It's ethical reaction content.
It's not reaction content in the way that the internet would interpret the term reaction content.
Really, internet.
Right. So that is interesting. So, what is a reaction? So this is where I get criticized quite a bit, which is when we watch something and we don't jump out of our seats, and I'm just kind of like, They're like, oh, you hardly reacted, and I'm like, no, I did react, just not the way that you wanted. What you expect me to be was surprised, shocked, blah blah blah, and I looked at it and gave you a breakdown, because that's my honest reaction. Basically, whatever you decide to do is a reaction, whether it's minor, major, whatever it is, you're doing something. As long as it's the first time that you've seen it, it is an honest reaction. If you've already had a chance to review it, then it's a review. Simple. Once you've seen it once, it's got to be put as a review, and it goes on to something else. But a reaction is your first time viewing something.
Would you consider that to be reaction content?
I don't think
yes, Linus.
Because if you say react...
Let's pull it.
Okay.
Let's pull
Luke,
it.
Sorry, Luke, you're wrong. Linus is right. It's a reaction. As long as it's the first time viewing it, it is a reaction.
You're going to get some reaction content from that.
They're going to side with you. They're going to side with you even if I'm right.
Because you're wrong.
No,
Luke, you're wrong, mate.
It's reaction content.
It is.
Anyway.
It is reaction content by definition of the term. It is not reaction content by how the internet interprets that. If you say...
but you asked
react...
Luke, you're talking out your ass, mate. It's alright. Reaction content is whatever it is, as long as it's a genuine reaction. It's as simple as that. Linus, you're right.
Channel.
Yeah.
People are going to think that you're reacting to videos because that's how that works right now.
But you would be. They would be reacting to videos or pictures or something. It's not like you're reacting to something in the studio. Surely. There's submissions by people. It's a reaction. Luke, you're narrow-minded, mate. Sort it out.
If it's user-submitted videos, that is seen as a different thing.
All right.
No, it's not. It's not. Sorry, that's still a reaction.
Like, I'm working on results.
Why don't you? If you're so confident, why don't you put up a poll, smart guy?
Yeah, go on.
Typing it out. Come on.
Okay, so
I haven't seen the poll. I wonder what it came up
as. I really love what Corridor Crew does, where
they
bring on experts to react to, So that's
to me, that's not a reaction. So when the Corridor Crew do it, they're not reacting, because in most cases these guys have already seen the stuff and they're discussing it and breaking it down. So to me, that's a review, what the Corridor Crew do, but they do it very, very well.
It's such a good example of how you can take very obviously copyrighted work from very aggressive IP companies like a Disney, for example, and confidently include stills or even motion from their content in your video. Because if you are, for example, doing...
But they do. But they don't like play large sections. They just go over it and they break it down. They talk about the techniques used. But they know the videos and they know the style. So I don't think they ever... Maybe like because one person hasn't seen it in the Corridor Crew, so maybe then it's a true reaction because at least one person hasn't seen it. But I don't think they've ever had a point where all of them have seen the shot and then they're talking about it, because then it's genuinely a review. So I guess technically it's still a react because at least one person hasn't seen it. So it is that kind of concept.
Doing a detailed breakdown of how the CGI was done for a particular scene. And you're sitting there, you're talking about how much work it was and how cool it was. You are not using a substantial amount. the effect on the original work is obviously positive. The nature of your own work is clearly more informative and or educational / factual. And even though the nature of the copyrighted work is purely fictional, the way it is being transformed into something that is educational is very, very cut and dried, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
they were very
bringing
good.
in experts. Something that I've wanted to do for a long time on the LTT channel. We just haven't.
So experts bringing in additional content to give it, so that's definitely adding value to any form of reaction. We're doing it with the ADK channel where we're bringing in new reactors. So we're bringing in some different musicians, interview content and getting interviewers, some of the people we're interviewing to do reactions because people want to get an opinion from these people as well. So we're trying a lot more of that sort of idea. So not necessarily tech experts, but musical experts for the musical reactions. So
haven't gotten around to it. Might have even gotten as far as an email to Wendell, sup Wendell, is I want to do LTT reacts to like bad hacking scenes in movies. That would be amazing. Is that React enough for you?
Yeah, that still cuts as a reaction. I don't know. I think there's a few people have already done that, but it would be classed as a reaction.
Huh?
That fits my term.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is that
so? Yes.
Okay. Is that acceptable?
Well, maybe not.
Is that under the umbrella of reaction content?
I don't know if it is.
Okay.
Luke, you're gonna get buried under this one. I'm. Do you know what? I'd laugh if I'm gonna have a see if I can find the poll before I finish this video and find out if what the final poll result was for it, because I'm really now intrigued to see if I'm right and I'm with Linus on this one.
What is common? Oh, your poll is bad because it makes it seem like a binary choice.
Because I didn't include a both.
Oh yeah, Floatplane chat does not like it.
Yeah, because they want a both.
Okay,
but that's complete.
You can't have
defeat.
You can't have a both. That's stupid.
It's the whole point.
All right.
And they don't get that, and you don't get that, but it defeats the whole point.
Yeah.
We want to do reacting to like bad product listings. So like going through like Facebook Marketplace. People who think their computer's worth way too much. We actually did one of those before.
Yeah, that's a reaction. As I said, a reaction is anything that it's your first time you see something and you react to it. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. It can be classed as a reaction.
Tech memes.
Don't lead the question. I didn't lead the question.
Reacting to old videos of ours.
We've actually found that more people will click the top option. I put the top option as not the one that I was saying. Screw off.
They're right. They don't like your poll, and they're right.
No, they're wrong. They're all wrong. The whole audience is wrong.
We've got reacting to old videos of ours. So one.
Reacting to old videos. So that. I think it's interesting if they do that and then they talk about maybe how they could technologically improve or what they've done differently in their videos now. So I liked it when Linus went back and did a reaction to some of his old videos and then showed and did some upscaling work. I thought that was really good. And I'd be intrigued to see some more of those sort of content on a reaction. But I maybe like doing a reaction from the Linus Tech Tips of a new employee who's joined the company who has maybe not seen the old videos and getting them to watch some old Linus Tech Tips videos for the first time. That would be kind of cool, because the problem is these guys have seen the videos, so it's not like it's a real true reaction.
One of the suggestions was Linus finally watches what it's like to work for Linus and reacts to it, which I commented on. I said I won't do it.
You said you never would.
Yeah, I was like, no, we can't do that one. That one's off limits. But like overall, that's not a bad idea.
Okay.
Yeah, best and worst of TikTok, stuff like that. But again, that's getting into the gray area unless we're doing a really good job of reaching out to people, which I will tell you right now, for our trying TikTok hacks videos in the past, I don't think we've reached out to people. However, what we've done has been highly transformative. We are actually doing things. We're actually trying them. I'm not eating a box of noodles while I watch other people's content.
Okay. Yeah.
Reminds me, I need to eat lunch.
I think what it basically comes down to is just being ethical about it and adhering to the 4 pillars of fair use and making sure that regardless of who it is and whether they could afford to take us to court over it, making sure that we would have a strong fair use argument that we believe with certainty that we would win. That's, I think, the bottom line. And or just getting permission from the original creator.
Yeah, getting permission. It's a difficult one. It really depends on how easy it is to reach out. I'm going to find out how easy it is to reach out to LTT and the guys here to see if what their response is on this video.
Where we're at on it. Because at this point, like, you're kind of stupid not to have a React channel. It's kind of like a Clips channel. Man, do you guys have any idea how long they pushed me around here to do a Clips channel for the WAN show? Do you know how successful the Clips channel is? I think it makes more money than the actual WAN show.
It probably does. But if you've got the original content, but I'm just really surprised that with the reaction channels that they can monetize as much as they do, because copyright claims are really strict, and the few times when I've disputed for like blocked videos and stuff like that, they just instantly just go nope, and they refuse my submission. So I've had videos that have been blocked for very long periods of time. I'm really surprised. Maybe it's me being naive. Maybe it's because of my ethical thought that I don't want videos that, because of the way I do the reactions and I let the whole video play out, that I don't try to monetize. Maybe that's the reason behind it.
Probably.
Just like, how does that even make any sense? It's just...
It like must actually. Yeah. Because you're dividing it up into a bunch of content, and each one of those content pieces is doing well.
LMG Clips gets 10 million views a month.
Yeah.
It is actually, in terms of just overall viewership, it is on par with like what I would consider to be like B tier tech channels. And I'm sitting here going, what? How is that even? How's it even possible? They know they can just link to a timestamp in the WAN show, right? But that's not how people engage with content. They want it to be digestible, and there's a...
They're talking like 60-second clips is basically the way it's going. Even music videos now, people are suggesting when you do music videos for bands, the music video is a dead content now. It's all about doing these 60-second shorts because that's all that people are paying attention to, which I think is very sad. How are you meant to get the concept of a music video across in 60 seconds? It's just... But bands are now being challenged. You've got to do your normal music video. You now need to do a 60-second short video. You need to do a TikTok upload. There's so much content you now need to create to get the same sort of impact that you did historically.
Huge contingent of our viewers that is absolutely just militantly opposed to watching long format content like the WAN show, but does want to hear about what we talk about on the WAN show.
And I've said this before, like I'm not going to sit down and watch the whole WAN show.
Oh yeah, Yvonne's the same way.
Yeah.
She never looks at WAN show, but she's like, she'll devour clips. She's like, yeah, what are Linus Lukes talking about this week?
It's the swipe.
And I've always understood why people like the timestamp guy in the description, or in the pinned comment. Sorry.
Yeah.
See, I like the timestamp when I'm talking about like a live concert, when someone uploads like a full concert of, let's say, Nightwish or something, and I like the timestamp so that there are certain songs that I really like and I just want to jump to those songs. But for something like this, I would watch, or documentary stuff like the Blaze channel and stuff like that, I'll watch those while I'm doing editing work. Really weirdly, I'll just have something on the second screen doing some editing. I like to have this sort of content, sort of discussion content, so I think it's a time and a place, but I wouldn't just sit down like even this now. If it wasn't for the fact of doing this video discussing it, I probably wouldn't have sat there and just watched this, apart from maybe having it while I was doing editing.
Yep.
Because like, yeah, it's a really, especially lately, man, we've had some like 3.5 hour shows.
Based on how many of our topics we've hit so far today, this is going to be a marathon.
Interesting.
You down, Dan?
Like they get pretty intense. So being able to sit down and watch the whole thing, especially in one sitting, it's like half a work day.
And you know what? The reality of it is that a good title and thumbnail works. Like this is great. A Prime in the float plane chat, who is Alex P, one of our editors. He goes, I watch WAN, I edit tech tips. I'm gonna add something here. I am really good at like creating YouTube thumbnails. I am literally like a creator of the drug, right? I'm a dealer.
Yeah.
I still end up being clickbaited into WAN clips. It is literally content he has seen before.
And he still watches it.
From people he can talk time he wants. who he works in the same building as, at least some of them.
Yeah.
And he still manages to click on it.
That's so funny.
I don't make the rules, right? Like, I don't. It comes back to that conversation about, is it the algorithm or is it the algorithm?
Audience? It's true.
I
have no idea.
Determine what works.
Yeah.
I have no idea either. We just try our bits, but there we go. So I'm sorry I cut Luke off there. Sorry, Luke, but yeah, we're gonna move on. You had 7 seconds left, right? So there are things in here like I love their good use of thumbnails here. Like its PC took 600 hours to build. That's the sort of thing that I would actually put on. I would just literally put that as a side video watching. I'm a multitasker. I like to do multiple different things. Right. So there we go. That was on my little demon over here has fallen over. Really interesting content there from Linus and Luke there on the WAN show. I'm going to reach out to them to see if I can obviously use the video in this particular video, so hopefully it gets uploaded and you can see it. I think Luke's wrong. Linus is right. The reaction is a reaction as long as it's genuine. I'm really surprised about the amount of reaction content creators that can make money on non-music ones. Potentially yes, because they're harder to monetize, so they probably do it that way. But for them, I'm wondering how much, when they're talking about this content, is music versus technological screens, because I'm guessing if they're talking about like using other content that's got no music in the background, it's probably a lot easier to upload without the copyright blocking, etc. coming into it. So I think that's possibly one of the reasons why they're talking there. But from a musical point of view, music reactions do tend to get copyright claims and monetized all the time, and it's one of the reasons I'm moving away from that on the Dave Does channel. But we'll continue to do those on the ADK for the time being, whilst we continue to build that channel for focusing on grassroots music, and interviews with some of the best artists in the world is our target. Well, there you go. If you liked this video, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.